Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome to this Swift tutorial. In this video we're going to be taking a look at some text files, and not only are we going to be taking a look at text files, but we will see how to download them from the internet, how to store them, and then how to read and write to them in the second part of this video. So if that's something you're interested in doing and in learning how to do, then just keep on watching this video and we will take a look at it right now. Okay, so let's get started with downloading our text file, and the best way to do that is by creating a new Xcode project. I'm going to make it a single application and call it text down. User interface, I'm just going to pick storyboard for now and click next. Then you can save it where you want to. I'm just going to put this in full screen, and let's head over to our view controller. So right now we're going to make an app that downloads a text file from the web, and then later we're going to take a look at how we can read and write to that text file. Now the procedure is going to be almost the same thing, whether you want to download an image or a spreadsheet or whatever you want to download. It's going to be mostly the same thing, so you can use that if there are different things you want to download. But in this particular video, we're going to download a text file. And the first thing that we need to do, as always, is to define a URL. And I'm going to define my URL based on a string. And the URL I'm going to use is this one right here. I've just uploaded a text file to my website. You can use that if you want to, else you can use your own. I just uploaded this, and you can paste it in here. And just like this. Whoops, there we go. There we have defined a URL based on this string, based on this website address here. So now that our URL is defined, we can go on to create a session or a background browsing session that will go to that URL and download our file. And the way we do that is we create a session. We can call this task, for example. Is equal to URL session dot shared dot download task, and we're going to need this completion handler right here, so make sure that you select. I'm just going to make sure that I also select the right one, which is this one right here, so the one with URL, not the one with URL request. I'm going to choose that one. Then we're going to give it the URL we just defined up here, URL, and then we will have a completion handler here. We will have a URL response, then we will have a, just going to call it response, and error if there are any errors with our downloading here. So in case this was successful, we will have a URL here or a path to our file. So our session here will try to download our file. If it is successful, it will give us the path to the file here, give us a response here, and if there has been an error, it will give us an error message here. So what we can do is we can just define a guard statement here where we check whether we have gotten a response or not. So we can try to say guard original URL, and I call it original URL because we're going to change it afterwards, is equal to URL response, that one. So here we're checking if we have a response. If we don't have a response, if there's nothing there, then we might as well quit our session here and simply return, so that we don't continue on if we don't have anything to continue on with. So this is our little guard statement here, checking if we have something, and if we do, then we're actually going to use a do, just like this. And in this do statement here, we're going to make or take 3 steps. The first one is to get path to directory. So we want to save, we have a file here at our original URL, the place here. But if we quit our application, it's going to disappear. So we need to save our file somewhere where it's more permanent. That is why we're going to be moving it from this original URL to a path or to a place in our user's directory. So first we're going to get the path to this directory, or the path to where we're going to save it. Let path is equal to try file manager manager default.url, and we are going to use this one down here. Let's get some more space here. For .document directory in .user domain mask, appropriate for, we can simply say nil here, and create is equal to false. So here we're simply getting a path to a directory, a path where we can store our file. And because there's a bunch of files over there or there might be a bunch of files there, we're going to give a specific name to our text file. So that's what we're doing here, giving name to file, or we're basically creating a specific URL or path for our file. So I'm going to say let, and this is going to be our new URL, the place where our file is moved to, is equal to path.append path component, and here you can just define the name of your file, what you want your file to be named. I'm just going to name it my text file. So the path of our text file is now going to be this one plus this one. Okay, so we now have our path, but now we're going to move file from old to new URL. Or simply we're moving it from the old place to the new place where it's stored more permanently. The way we do that is, again, we need our try statement here. File manager dot default dot move item, and we're moving the item that's currently located at the original URL to our new URL where it's stored more permanently, and we can access it even though the user quits the applications and reopens it. And as you can see, we have a try statement here and here. They might not work. You can handle the errors differently, perhaps one error handling for each try statement. We're not going to do that, but we do need a catch in case it doesn't work. And what we're going to do here is we can simply print, and what we're going to print is our error message dot, and if you want a more specific error message, you can access the localized description here. Let's see, error dot localized description. And in addition to accessing our localized description, if we have an error, we might as well just return just like that. We have a little problem here, and that might be because we just need a small s here. And then we're also going to need to force unwrap our URL here, just to say that we're pretty sure that it's a valid URL. And we can say that with pretty much certainty because we defined it up here. Or you might do a better error handling, but right now that will do, just force unwrapping it. And we also got an error message down here, and that's simply because I forgot ing appending instead of append. So that should solve the problem. And in order to remove this one, we can simply give it an underscore, just like that. Then we don't use that extra memory. Okay, so what we did here is we firstly created our URL from where we're going to download or where our text file is stored. Then we create a URL session, which is getting us our text file. We check if we have a text file stored. If we do, then we take that text file and we store it in a more permanent place. We do that by getting our path. We append the special name for our text file, and then we move the file from our old to our new URL right here. We catch an error if there is an error, and that's really it. So now we have our session all set up and ready to go, and now we just have to start it by saying task. So we can't do this actually, let task, because we're going to need to reference it down here, task.resume. So just like that, we have started our task, and we can now, I just need to turn on my Wi-Fi here. Now we can launch it and see what we get, and we should get a successful download of our text file. And the screen is blank, which is what we expected, but here we have a little message saying that something failed because our app transport security has blocked a clear text something. It simply means that we need to head over to our info.plist file and allow us to download from HTTP instead of only HTTPS. The way we do that is we go to anything here and we click on plus sign, and we search for our app transport security settings, just like that. Then press the down arrow here, and then we click another plus, and we are going to choose allow arbitrary loads and set that to yes. That will allow us to also go to websites that only have HTTP instead of only HTTPS. So let's try to launch it one more time here. Again blank, but this time we should have downloaded our file. At least we don't have an error message here. We could have added a print statement right after here to just print that it has been successful. We did not do that, but I'm pretty sure we now have our text file. And in the next step, we are going to access this text file. We're going to first of all read it, and then we are going to write to it, or change it. So let's do that by getting us some more space here.